Hello everyone, it's Kathy Genevieve, yoga teacher and therapist, and I wanted to spotlight another pose and give you a short tutorial on Humble Warrior. Now, Humble Warrior is a real challenge pose and it is a strength builder. And so of course you wouldn't do this rolling right out of bed in the morning. So make sure you're warmed up before you start. A nice walk, brisk walk is perfect. And a few stretches within your spine first. So let's go ahead and come onto our mats. You won't need anything for this other than your mat. You will definitely need a mat because it all comes, Humble Warrior all comes from Warrior 2 or Virabhadrasana 2. And so you want to make sure your feet aren't going to slide. So from mountain pose, you're going to step out nice and wide. And you want to go as wide as you can and sustain that. So you don't want to be tempted to go too narrow. You won't be able to accomplish what you could accomplish unless you have your feet wide enough. So that takes just a little bit of maybe tweaking and to see what really works for you. So from this position, nice wide feet, you're going to turn the right toes out as you pivot on the heel. The back toes, you're going to kick that heel back a little bit and the toes come a little bit forward. Really good alignment, if you want to get really particular with this, I think is heel, front heel to back heel. If you drew a line, it would intersect. A lot of traditions do teach the heel to the inner sole. So just find what works and is comfortable for your own hips. Personally, I think for the pelvis and the SI joints, heel to heel is probably the best sort of alignment you can have. And just have a little look, make sure your front toes are pointed directly forward. And the hips are going to stay just a little skewed, which is normal and healthy position of your hips. But you can try to turn the chest and head just a little bit towards the front. Breathe your arms up. And when you feel like your chest is turned about as comfortably far towards the front as you can, and leave that where it is and just turn your gaze over your front fingertips. Make sure the shoulders are comfortable, so you might want to release those down a little bit. And then on an exhale, start to bend the front knee. And as you sink down into your Warrior 2, you want to have pressure pushing into that back foot. So the back leg stays long and it stays strong as you come down with the bent front knee. So make sure the back leg is doing its fair share of the load. And that's really the secret. If you can keep that back foot pressing all the way to the little toe side of the foot, you'll find that you don't lean forward when you're coming into your Warrior 2. So let's have a couple breaths now as you just ease into it. Make sure the front knee is tracking over the second or third toe, and make sure that front knee doesn't go forward of your ankle joint. So when all that's working well, you can just hold your Warrior 2 for a couple of breaths. And then keeping the legs exactly as they are, nice and strong. Really feel the feet against the floor. You're going to take your arms and interlock your hands behind your back. And you're going to try to open up in the collarbones and the upper chest. So you want to roll those shoulders up, back, and down. Push out through the knuckles in your interlocked hands. And this might be as far as you want to go in Humble Warrior. So your chest is pointing somewhere in the direction of that front left corner of your mat or that edge. And if all feels well, you can start hinging at that hip joint coming forward. You don't want to round your back. So if your back wants to round, you don't want to come any further at this point. You keep pushing back through the knuckles so your arms stay long. It encourages your chest to stay broad. You will start to feel the challenge in your front leg. That's when you have to power up in the back leg as well. So make sure both legs are doing their job and just hinge forward as far as your body will let you. You need to find your own stopping point. And as you come forward, if you have come forward quite far and hinged quite forward into a forward bend, you might be able then to rise your arms up so your hands point more towards the ceiling. And feel that lovely stretch in your shoulder joints if you've come this far. Have just a few breaths, and when you come up, just rise up a little bit in the chest, in your heart, and make sure you're really pressing through the heel of that front foot and the back leg is doing its job as you come up. And then turn feet so they face the front of the room. We'll do the exact same thing on the second side. It usually goes a little faster on the second side. So now the left toes point out to the left. And your back foot, which is now your right foot, the heel goes back a little bit so the toes can turn just slightly inward and forward. Bring your arms out. And again, just have a little play in your chest where you're trying to maybe get the chest turned to the front of the room as much as it can go. And then keeping the chest as it is, you're going to turn and look over those front fingertips. And slowly sink that front leg, that left knee, so it starts to bend. And just feel what that tracking feels like. The knee is tracking over the second or third toe as it completes the bend, but you've got real strength in that back leg. Your back gluteal muscle is engaged. So let's just do this a couple breaths. Let it feel really smooth before you start to hold the posture. And when you think you've got it, make sure you hold your warrior two and you feel the strength in your legs and the real anchoredness in your feet. And when you're ready to maybe give humble warrior a little go, you just bring your arms down all the way back around your back, interlock your hands, broaden your shoulders so they go up, back, and down. Maybe turn just a little bit the chest towards that front corner of your mat. It's now the front right corner. And slowly, with strength in the back foot as well as the front, both legs are working, you start to hinge forward. A little bit of a diagonal forward bend. And you don't want too much rounding in that back at this stage. So you want to make sure you can come forward and have your back engaged. So the back muscles are working a little bit too, not just the legs. It's a whole body experience. If you've come forward as far as you can, you might want to try to raise those arms, those interlocked arms, right up towards the ceiling. And then if you have the hands and arms pointed right up towards the ceiling, keep lifting those shoulder bones away from the floor. Nice, long, slow breaths, but when you're ready to come up, push up as if somebody's clasping behind your wrists, really press into the front heel, and come on back up. And then heel and toe closer together, so you can give a little hop and come right back to mountain pose. Thanks for joining me. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.